is Edward Willett. I am the editor and publisher of Shadowpaw Press, and I am the host of the Aurora award-winning podcast, The Worldshapers, where I talk to other science fiction and fantasy authors about their creative process. I am myself an award-winning author of science fiction and fantasy and nonfiction for readers of all ages. And last year, I kickstarted an anthology called Shapers of Worlds, featuring short fiction by authors who were guests during the first year of my podcast. And I'm pleased to announce the release of Shapers of Worlds Volume 2, featuring authors who were second-year guests of the podcast. This is a substantial anthology, 140,000 words of fiction. There are 24 stories in all, 18 original stories and 6 reprints. We have original stories from Kelley Armstrong, Marie Brennan, Helen Dale, Candas Jane Dorsey, Lisa Foyles, Susan Forrest, James Alan Gardner, Matthew Hughes, Heli Kennedy, Lisa Kessler, Adria Laycraft, Ira Nayman, Garth Nix, Tim Pratt, Edward Savio, Bryan Thomas Schmidt, Jeremy Szal, and some guy named Edward Willett. And there are reprints from Jeffrey A. Carver, Barbara Hambly, Jeffrey A. Carver, Barbara Hambly, Nancy Kress, David D. Levine, S.M. Stirling, and Carrie Vaughn. So that's Shapers of Worlds, Volume 2. It's available now everywhere from any of your favorite retailers or from Shadowpaw Press directly at shadowpawpress.com. And just to give you a taste of it, I'm just going to read the introduction, which oddly enough I wrote. That will set it up, and then I hope you'll go out and, buy it and read it. That would be great. So this is the introduction to Shapers of Worlds, Volume 2. Back in the 16th century, learned men were known for creating cabinets of curiosities, collections of notable objects, relics of archaeological interest, fascinating geological specimens, stuffed animals, valuable books, works of art, and more. These cabinets, at the time the term referred to rooms, not just pieces of furniture, were precursors to modern museums. They were also a form of entertainment, learned entertainment, as the Royal Society in London termed it. These collections might or might not have a strong central theme. It depended on the collector and his or her specific interests. Some might largely be collections of one type of thing, others might be collections of many different types of things. Anthologies, it seems to me, are rather like cabinets of curiosities, the collector being the editor. Many anthologies have a strong central theme, such as stories set on Mars, or stories about ancient deities making their way in the modern world, or alternate histories of the Civil War. The curiosities collected in such cabinets are all related to this central theme, and thus readers know what to expect as they move from tale to tale. This anthology, and its precursor, Shapers of Worlds, published last year, are far more eclectic. The stories collected here are stories connected not by theme, but by something more concrete. Every author was a guest during the second year of my podcast, The Worldshapers, where I interview other science fiction and fantasy authors about their creative process. Both anthologies grew out of a presentation to the annual general meeting of Sask Books, the Association of Saskatchewan Publishers, of which I'm a member, in 2019. A publisher from Winnipeg explained how she had successfully kickstarted an anthology of short fiction, and I thought, hey, I know some authors. I reached out to the guests from the first year of my podcast, which had begun in August 2018, and 18 authors agreed to take part, with 9 offering to write new stories and 9 to provide reprints. After climbing the somewhat steep Kickstarter learning curve, I successfully crowdsourced Shapers of Worlds in early 2020 and published it through my own Shadowpaw Press last fall. Having done it once, I thought I could do it again, so I reached out to my second-year guests. This time, 18 authors agreed to write new stories and 6 offered reprints, and that's the volume, well, it says here, you now hold in your hand, I now hold in my hand, or are viewing on your ebook reader of choice, assuming that you've, got the book and are doing so, which I hope you will. To return to my metaphor, these stories are those which the authors themselves chose to be displayed in this cabinet of curiosities. The result, I think you'll find, is as varied as the strange assortment of oddities and discoveries those long-ago collectors placed in their personal showcases, ranging from far future science fiction to modern-day fantasy, to stories of alternate histories, to tales set in magical realms. Here you will find darkness and danger, but also light and hope, grimness, but also humor, rollicking adventure alongside quieter tales conducive to contemplation. It has been a great honor both to interview these authors and to collect and edit these stories. I couldn't be prouder to present Shapers of Worlds Volume 2 to the world. And of course, none of this could have been possible without the generosity of all those who backed the Kickstarter earlier this year that provided the funds to pay the authors and produce this book. I hope they'll find their support was well worthwhile. Another term for a cabinet of curiosities was cabinet of wonder. In the stories that follow, you will find a great deal of wonder. They are, literally, wonderful. Enjoy, and, assuming you do, thanks for reading.